Hello, welcome to April's Gail
and Tammy show. Something like that. One of these days, one of these months,
gosh.
I'm gonna get this figured out right from the beginning. Anyway,
welcome. We're excited about this topic this month. April is actually Parkinson's Awareness Month, and you're about to meet some of our experts here from On With Life, Sue Sandel, who's one of our occupational therapists, and Chandler Yoakley, who's a speech therapist. And so exciting to have them on because we love this population.
We do, and we have exciting things happening. With this population in general, it just always seems to be like they're probably the loudest bunch in making sure we know what they want and what they need, which is incredible. They're great advocates. All of you with Parkinson's are great advocates for what services you need and what you're looking for and what education you're looking for, and we love that about you all. But you know, I think one of the big announcements I want to make is what we have coming.
Wait, do we do this?
Sure. One of the big announcements we have for this coming year that I think I'm looking forward to the most is that we have decided to do our first annual Parkinson's conference.
Yay!
Yeah, we're excited. It's an all-day conference. We are going to host it in the Iowa City area. It's going to be on August 27th, and we have multiple speakers lined up. We have
multiple sponsors.
We have vendors coming in that can provide services to persons with Parkinson's and their care partners. And it really is this opportunity for the community to come together and get information and just get the education that they so desire.
So wait, who can be in attendance? Is it just for people with Parkinson's?
No. So people with Parkinson's and their care partners can attend for free.
Okay. Free.
So it's all free.
Free's good.
You come, but then it's also open to individuals wanting to get the information. So maybe you have a family member with Parkinson's that you're wanting more information on, or healthcare professionals as well. So
are we offering CEUs on that?
So for the healthcare professionals, there is a small charge, but that does include CEUs for the conference as well. And so we are super
excited about that.
Yeah.
Well, to showcase what kind of we do at On With Life, but also to provide as much information to the community and to healthcare providers within the whole state. We know there's a lot of individuals within Iowa who have Parkinson's. We know the numbers keep going up. So let's provide some, education and some information to everybody. It's exciting. It has really grown quite a bit.
It is. Yep. So that's the biggest news I think we have. The other news I get emails and calls weekly about.
Yep. When are we going back in person? We would love to give you a date. We would love to say June 1, but that's not going to happen yet. But we know that it's on the horizon. Yep. It is something that we continue to look at with the numbers of COVID cases, positivity rate, and kind of just like what's going on with vaccinations throughout Iowa. But know that it's on the horizon because we want you guys back in our building for our support groups. Now, if you need therapy, yes, we're open for that. But for our support groups, for our wellness programming, all of that is kind of still on hold in person, but it is occurring virtually. Don't forget that.
So you can still be attending via Zoom. Just give us a call and we can get you the link and get you set up.
Okay, so I'm excited. I'm excited for you guys to talk to our guests. So
and I think the big thing also, we just want to point out that with our guests that we're bringing on, all of us have been vaccinated.
Oh, yes.
So we aren't wearing our masks as we're sitting close to each other, but we just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of that. You'll see us all not wearing our masks, and that is, we are excited to say
we're vaccinated.
That we've been all vaccinated. So,
all right. So ready? We gotta do okay. Be right back. Can you do it?
Oh.
No. Oh yeah. Be right back.
Be right back. Hey everybody, we're back with our guest today, and today we have Chandler, speech therapist at the On With Life outpatient program, and Sue Sandel, occupational therapist from the outpatient program, and we're here to kind of just go through some myth busters of Parkinson's disease and all the things that are out there that talk about Parkinson's, but really maybe aren't giving you the full scope or the full picture. It's easy to go and Google Parkinson's disease and you will get all kinds of information, and some of it's pretty scary.
You gotta be really careful with Dr. Google. Whew, he can be quite scary.
Yeah,
he can be. So we want to be able to provide you with valuable information for some of our experts.
Yeah.
That treat Parkinson's all the time.
Yeah. So, but I think before we get to the Mythbusters, maybe we just talk a little bit about, at On With Life, we started this programming in 2013 with LSVT Big and Loud.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. So we just experimentally started this program, and all of a sudden it just boomed. We were having people come through the woodwork. It was awesome, totally awesome. And I think what we learned from that is, unfortunately, this disease process, it digresses. As it progresses, things change. And so we really had to kind of change that mindset, going from big and loud. Yes, that's great, but now what? We have early stages of PD. We got some individuals came back to us during the middle stages, and then what happens at the later stages. So we really had to change our focus and create more of that comprehensive programming, which I think is cool. One thing I do want to say about Big and Loud is Sue here. I love this story about Sue.
Oh,
and so you have to tell it.
I do?
Yeah,
Okay.
you do. You have to tell the story of what Big did to you.
Okay. So I was born small and quiet. And when I came on board here in the outpatient department, I was, expected to go through the LSVT Big program, and I wanted to work in outpatient, so I'm like, well, I better get certified. So I go to, it was, 2 days, I don't even remember how long the course was.
Yeah,
but
2 days.
2 days, and, got certified in Big. I did not. I'm an occupational therapist, so we get certified in Big. We don't get certified in Loud. However, we use Big and Loud concepts during the certification program. So I learned how to recalibrate myself, and I came back that Monday and I said, "Good morning, how was your weekend?" And everybody looked at me like,
What?
"Who are you?"
Wow.
So even if you were born small and quiet, you too can become bigger and louder, whether you had Parkinson's disease or not.
No.
Because we have people that come in with Parkinson's disease, and they say, "Well, I've always been quiet spoken." Well, you're even quieter now. So, but you can relearn how to calibrate how loud you're talking.
I know, and so I love that story. I love that story. I was one of the ones that was like, "What?
Who are you?
What is happening?" Because
I'm certified now.
Yes. So Quiet Sue was no longer quiet, and she was also no longer small. She was walking big, proud, loud, the whole thing, which was awesome. Totally love that. But I mean, I think it just speaks to the programming in general about, you said recalibration, which is exactly about knowing how to make your body and your voicing be louder or bigger. Because why? Like, why is that important? What does Parkinson's do to you that you need to recalibrate?
Well, it causes a mismatch between your sensory and motor systems. So you think and feel that you're speaking loud or moving big, but in actuality, you're whispering, but to you it sounds like it's normal. Or you're shuffling and it feels like you're walking big. So the LSVT Big and Loud helps you relearn what it feels like to walk with normal size steps, even though it feels like it's really big, or to talk
Feels like you're screaming.
like you're talking on purpose, but not yell. You're really not yelling, even though you may feel like you're yelling.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just a really good example. So when we started that programming, we did Big and Loud, but more of the comprehensive programming. Chandler, what do you do from early all the way to late stages just from a speech standpoint for our individuals with Parkinson's?
Yeah, so when someone comes in, you know, they may come for LSVT loud, but we take a look at their voice. We also take a look at swallowing, because that can be compromised as stages continue to progress. And then cognition, so your overall thinking skills, processing, memory, and we work with those. So maybe you do loud to start, but then we keep you on for a while for therapy, and then do kind of a like strategies, or what can we do to set up in your environment to help you be successful.
Right, so sometimes they come and they might do a 4-week intensive program,
Yeah.
but then after that, we might see them for PT, OT, and or speech, just to be able to really, really fine tune those skills, right?
And it would only be, you know, we could see for the loud would be for 4 days a week, but then it would maybe be 1 or 2 days a week for the rest of it, or times a week, yeah. So that we can still keep you kind of in check and on board with us, but also give you some more free time at home too.
When I, it took me a while, just as a treating therapist and not a speech therapist, to sort of understand why swallow got affected and why people end up having aspiration. So when we talk about our motor, you know, part of the motor symptoms is rigidity. So a lot of our Parkinson's people will say that they are so just stiff, and you can just see it, like no rotation, no arm swing, everything is stiff. Well, that makes sense to me, PT, but why does it affect the swallow?
I mean, if you think about it, you have an incoordination with movements anyways. So your swallow is a lot of movements, moving parts within your throat. But then also it's a muscle. I mean, essentially it's a muscle to get the food where it needs to go. And so if those are weak, just like your movements, or they're stiff, they're not going to move as well. And then that can be compromised where it goes down your airway instead of where it needs to go.
Right.
So.
And we've even had some individuals with that little flap that goes over your air hole, right?
Yeah.
Like it gets rigid and it gets stuck, and it doesn't have the ability to basically close your air hole,
Yeah.
right? And stop the fluids from going down. So it's rigid and it's stuck in an open position.
Well, that
Down it
and
goes, and
movements are
lungs.
slower too overall, and so sometimes, you know, if you drink something like water, it goes pretty fast. Even for someone that doesn't have Parkinson's, we can choke on our water. And so to have, you know, some strategies to help slow down the liquid or the food, to help give more time for the swallow to work how it should, we do work on that too.
Chandler, why don't we worry about fluids or food getting down into the lungs? Like,
Yeah.
why should they worry about that?
Yeah, so if they get in the lungs, and then if you're not moving a lot, it can create bacteria from your mouth or the food that you're eating, and just sit kind of in your lungs. And so that can cause pneumonia, and then you're in the hospital for that. And so
That's a no-go.
yes.
We don't want that.
Yes, and people with Parkinson's aren't moving as much because it is more difficult for them. And so if they are aspirating and getting things in their lungs, and then they are at home sitting in their recliner a lot of the day, or sitting on the couch, then that can cause that kind of just to sit.
Awesome. Okay, Mythbusters. Some things that we're going to talk about. These ladies are going to bust those myths, right?
Yes.
What do you think they are? Some of them. Are you like nervous?
I feel like this could be like a Ghostbusters thing.
What do you want?
We need our Mythbusters detective.
Oh, we could do that. Something like that. Who knows? Anyway. Okay, so I'm newly diagnosed, and you go to your neurologist, hopefully a movement specialist, a movement disorder specialist who specializes in PD. So the only way to combat Parkinson's is through medication. True or false?
False.
Okay, we could do like Family Feud. There we go. Okay, so why is that false? Because what else can we do?
Well, since we work in outpatient therapy, you can ask your doctor to refer you to PT, OT, and speech to relearn and how to move and how to swallow if you need to. So that is one thing that people can do instead of medications.
I would agree.
Exercise.
Exercise. Oh, I like that. Did you see that?
Exercise.
specific kind of exercising, any kind of exercising,
Any kind.
any kind. Movement, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Maybe really, even if it's just, if exercise is scary to people, it's just even getting up and walking a lap around the house. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be like, oh, I
Around
need
the
to
block,
go do
or-
Jane Fonda's
or
workout.
Suzanne Summers Thigh Master.
Exactly.
Right, you don't have to do that one.
No.
No, it's true. It's just all about movement because of the whole rigidity and being stiff, and a lot of muscles tend to have an imbalance, and so you see a lot of people who might be forward flexed in their posturing, forward in their head. So a lot of the exercises, or just even the idea, is to be able to help open up everything and to get everything back into normal alignment as well. But yeah, any kind of exercising. But we, there's specific things out there that have been researched for boxing, cycling for PD,
Nordic walking.
yep, Nordic walking, Tai Chi, aquatics,
Mhm.
yeah, dancing, yes, and even, the formal ballroom dancing, but just dancing in general. I mean,
Zumba.
Yeah,
You can do
Zumba.
some Zumba.
you can do some
Yoga.
Zumba.
But
Yes.
don't-
Oh yeah,
You
yoga.
gotta be careful with that Zumba. You might throw out a hip.
Okay. Well,
For
I
all
got a
of
Zumba
you
story,
guys
but
that
I won't
have
tell
heard
you.
Oh, she just threw the age joke in there. Did you guys catch that?
I didn't hear it because I didn't hear it. Nice. Okay, so are Parkinson's symptoms the same every single day? Why is that?
Well, it can depend on how well you slept the night before.
Amen, sister. Here's to some coffee.
Yes. It can also
Water.
be affected by just the changes in levels of your dopamine throughout the day,
Yep.
and you're on and off with your medications.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, fatigue, sleep, stress. Don't forget stress. Stress is one of those things that can really ramp up symptoms. That's for
Mhm.
sure.
I mean, we experience those things even when we don't have Parkinson's. It just seems to be magnified.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So, like, if you think about just even you didn't sleep well even before you were diagnosed with Parkinson years ago. The more you, in those college years, which for some of us apparently was a lot
A
longer
long time ago.
That was
Anyway,
last year. No, I'm just kidding.
for those of us that don't sleep as well, I mean, we cognitively don't fire as well as we usually do, or we maybe our balance is off, or we, some of us have really poor balance anyway, and then you get a little bit of tiredness on top of there, and stress, like you said, affects it. So
Yeah. So
Yeah.
those things to pay attention to. What about the I go to my doctor and I don't have a tremor, so therefore I don't have Parkinson's.
Sorry.
What is that? What does everybody present with a tremor?
No, some people have, like you had mentioned, rigidity, where there's more stiffness than a tremor. Some people
Yeah.
Constipation.
who knew that would
What?
be like a pre-symptom?
Yeah. Well,
Or
actually, there's 3 of those, right? I
Mhm.
cannot remember them off the top of my head, but constipation is one of them.
Loss of smell.
Oh yeah, that thing.
Uh-huh. And then there's that third one.
I need more coffee because I can't remember it. Oh,
is it-
sleep disturbances.
Sleep
Yes,
disturbances. Yeah.
You know, sometimes people will talk about they've been married to their spouse for 50 years and they're sleeping next to them, and the next thing they know, their spouse is punching them in the middle of the night. And that's one of what they call prodromal symptoms of things are beginning to change, but you haven't noticed it per se yet, or maybe not all of the symptoms are lining up. So those big 3 of sleep disturbances, constipation, who doesn't have that? But that's one of them.
But then you
And-
put them all together.
And then you put them all together, but more so the lack of taste and smell. We always ask our people when they come in, when did you get diagnosed, and when did you lose your sense of smell? And sometimes that loss of sense of smell can be up to 10 years prior to
Yeah.
the initiation of the first symptom, and it's never been put hand in hand like that making sense. But it's really just the location of where the cells begin to die off in the brain as compared to where it is on the olfactory tract. So it's interesting. There's a lot of research out there about taste and smell, and wouldn't it be cool if you could just devise a test, or like you knew to ask, I lost my taste and smell does that mean something?
Right.
You know, because then there could be like way more, you know, basically being proactive in your care and knowing earlier on.
Well,
Yeah.
then
Oh,
I've even had people like come in and say, you know, my handwriting was getting really small. That was something that I noticed, but I didn't think anything of it. Or I was swinging my leg a different way, and my family noticed, but I didn't notice.
Right.
And so things like that too. I mean, the main three, but those are also things that have come up.
So this is not, you guys don't know this question, but what if I have frozen shoulder, carpal tunnel, you know, I have toe clawing, any of that stuff. That's not related to Parkinson's.
It absolutely can be related to Parkinson's because of the rigidity that can set in. And so we have a lot of folks that come in after they've been diagnosed with Parkinson's, and they're like, yeah, 5 years ago I had a shoulder replacement because I had a frozen shoulder, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it was because of an orthopedic condition. It could have been because it was the increased stiffness that was starting from the Parkinson's disease.
Yeah, because we ask on our evaluations, you know, have you had any orthopedic surgeries? And that's when the laundry list of, yes, I've had carpal tunnel, I've had frozen shoulder, or I've had back issues, or all of that stuff, and you end up going to multiple doctors, and nobody kind of can put the pieces together. So just being aware of sort of some of that symptomology. Now look, if you have carpal tunnel because you're sitting at the desk all day, I'm not saying you have Parkinson's, okay?
No.
But I'm not saying, there's public service announcement, I didn't say that.
You know, we
I didn't say that.
You think about it, it's come a long, long way, right? But there's still a long, long way to go with Parkinson's awareness and research. Like, in comparison to where we were in the field 10 years, 20 years ago, is completely different than where we are now, and the thought process behind that, but it's still got a long, long way.
It does. I mean, the latest research, it's exciting, but still the whole goal is to end Parkinson's, is to find a cure. You know, why do these cells die off? What is happening to the dopamine, and you know, how do we get it back, or how do we stop it from dying off is really. So speaking of research, speaking of experiments, speaking of that kind of thing, I've heard the word deep brain stimulation, and my question is that experimental?
No, it's not.
Okay, so somebody tell me about what deep brain stimulation is, what it does, who's a candidate,
Okay.
when should I get it? I know.
So,
yes.
and Sue's words from earlier, it's where they go around and mess with your brain.
Nice, I like that.
So basically, there's an implant into your brain that helps stimulate cell growth.
No, not cell growth, but it actually
Movement.
it actually excites the they go subthalamic nucleus, and basically, it basically kind of blocks the lack of movement, so it allows you to move better, kind of excites that area so that you're allowed to move better. So
And a lot of people, you know, want it because their tremors are so bad. And so a lot of people get it done because of the motor symptoms. Some downfalls is you have to do some cognitive, you know, testing before the doctor will approve you to even do it. And it can affect your speech and your cognition and swallowing also once it is done.
because they're putting things in there and kind of messing it around, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, there are definitely some bonuses for deep brain stimulation, but there's also other things to know in terms of, you know, the adverse effects of that. But, you know, I kind of wonder, like, should you start talking about DBS right as you get diagnosed, or do we just wait until the end stages when you've kind of exhausted, you've got the dyskinesias and you've exhausted the carbidopa-levodopa? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so we were talking about that before we got on air here too, and how a lot of people think that DBS is put in later in the stages of Parkinson's disease. However, it's good to at least be aware of it when you're diagnosed so that you and your doctor can keep it on the radar, because if you wait too long to get your DBS, there's a greater chance that it could affect your swallow or your cognition. And that's one of the reasons why they have people do cognitive testing before they get the DBS, to make sure that it's their cognition is a good level, so it doesn't deteriorate.
Yeah.
I also want to just take a second to throw in, like, the one thing I think that makes this program a little bit more unique and comprehensive is that we also do have clinical counseling and neuropsychs on staff and in our outpatient program.
I mean, I thought what you were gonna say is that what makes it interesting is just the three of us being on the Parkinson's committee. That's really what I thought that she was gonna say. But clearly she's talking about other things.
I was more worried about all of you getting the information that you need. And
Okay, fine. We do
not
have
like
clinical
filling
counseling
their heads with even more, but they're great.
and
Kudos to them.
neuropsychology. I thought we were talking about us.
But
No,
I also,
okay, but we
but
do.
I do
it's
also,
this comprehensive
right.
component.
But
It's true.
I also want to throw out there that, you know, I think I want people to be open to potentially even clinical counseling from the fact that as you're diagnosed, and the care partners as well, that it's an adjustment, right? Like it's sometimes it's hard to not get caught in the trap of, oh, woe is me, or I can't believe this is happening, or now my life is over. When in reality it isn't. It's just a little blip on the radar, and some people can get through that on their own and be fine, but for so long mental health stuff has had a negative stigma, and I just want to push out there that that encourage you, whether you do clinical counseling here or anywhere else, you know, seeking out somebody to just kind of help you through that period of time can be highly beneficial, because with Parkinson's is also increased risk of depression.
Oh gosh,
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
So those motor and the non-motor, but non-motor is that anxiety and depression that kind of goes hand in hand with Parkinson's, and you don't necessarily have to just like put up with it. You can certainly, there's medications that can help, but also that clinical counseling. But I'm going to throw out other things too, which I think are important just in regard to your whole mental state and quality of life, is getting involved in certain things like support groups. So let's talk kind of about what we do for our support groups. I mean, you don't have to attend ours, but we would like it, but you don't have to. But we do have right now, and actually throughout the entire pandemic, we continued with our virtual support group.
Which we're hoping will be back in person sooner than later.
Gosh, let's
That'd be,
hope.
that'd be so great.
We miss our people. We miss seeing their bright, shiny faces in person.
Yeah.
So we have a support group. So what do we do with that, guys?
So we meet once a month, the fourth Thursday of every month at 5 p.m. And we usually spend the first part, just kind of introductions, and then we have provided education component each meeting that is on different topics. So
examples, just like PD 101.
yes, it's like, what did we just do?
We have done
Medication.
medication,
Vision,
cognition,
driving,
swallowing, yes.
bowel and
Yep.
bladder,
Exercise.
exercise.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Yep.
like anything basically what our people with Parkinson's and their caregivers want to know about. We want to be able to provide that information and to have an open dialogue, an open forum.
And we're
Yeah,
open
and
to
it's
topics, so sometimes
Yeah.
people will suggest, hey, I want to know more about this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or we'll get emails of questions that people, like, I heard this, or my doctor and I talked about this, and so we can touch base, because you're not going to be the only one that has that question.
question,
You
yeah.
just might have the only courage to talk, bring it out. So,
I don't know. Our Parkinson's people have big mouths.
oh yeah, but they need to be loud. So
They
that's
do.
good.
They want their information.
Yeah,
For
but
sure.
I think it's really good just to have that socialization too with
Mhm.
other persons with Parkinson's, as well as caregivers that they can all connect, and so that's nice. that
Totally
we have.
agree. So we also offer cognitive fitness. Do you want to
Yep.
briefly talk about that?
Yeah, so every Wednesday around the noon hour, we do cognitive fitness to work on like your thinking skills. Sue will also be hopping in to do some fine motor and occupational therapy in the next coming months.
Cool.
So yeah, and then that is every Wednesday. So
And they
that's
can
not,
call our front desk and get signed up or more information
Yes.
about that. And you can find our phone number at, well, I'll just give it to you.
Wait, 515-289-9696.
Like, how can you not remember that phone number?
Right? The other thing is, so for anybody who has actually gone through the Big and Loud, or the Big and Loud, but we don't do a loud check-in right now, but we do the big check-in, and we do that once a month.
Yep.
So what does that mean? So if I'm checking in for big, what's that mean?
So, second Tuesday of every month, since we've been on Zoom we've been able to continue the check-ins on Zoom. We usually get started about 4 p.m. We do all the exercises from the big program together.
Yes.
Which, you know what, because when you're done with the program, sometimes it's easy to kind of get smaller again, or
Oh, I was gonna say slack off.
slack off. And so this gives everybody a chance to check in. Myself or Gail or some of the other LSBT Big certified therapists will lead the exercises so that we can watch you and make sure that you're still giving your full effort and your full bigness. Because it's easy when you're alone doing these to just kind of slack off or think you're doing them at the right speed, or you're like, yep, I'm big.
Go through the motions.
Go through the motions.
Right. I mean, and when you're home, you might do it faster, you might not hold it as long, but also because of that sensory mismatch, you still are not feeling. You still probably feel like you're being as big as possible, but we know that you can give a little bit more maximal effort. So we're the ones going, be a little bigger, Sue. And then you get called out in front of everybody, and it's fine because they all do, and it's no big deal. But they love it because it's social, but they also get to participate in something that they love to do.
So, unfortunately, we've got to get these guys back to doing.
Oh, they got a treat.
They got to get back to doing miracles, you know? So, we need to get them back onto the floor, but we hope you have enjoyed our Mythbusters for the April. Oh my goodness, I'm just having horrible word finding options.
Here, I'll take it from you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for April's Parkinson's Awareness Month about Mythbusters with Sue, Chandler, and Cottonmouth over there.
Apparently.
You can't seem to get it out. But did that help you there?
Yeah, that helped. Thanks.
Anyway, so at any time, please call 515-289-9696. If you ever have any questions about anything Parkinson's related, you're interested in getting evaluated, you're interested in getting screened, or you want any information about anything PD related, we're here for you. This is this population that we absolutely love to treat. We know that we can help make people's quality of life go from little and get bigger and bigger and bigger. And we absolutely love to be able to be part of that journey in the chapter, the book of Parkinson's, for sure. All right, guys, take care. Thank you.